ago. All right, I think we are live. I'm pretty sure. A little bit of a delay on there, but that's all right. Hey everybody, how's it going? Welcome to the Urban Gardener channel. I'm Enoch, and here we are, Sunday. It's live, and hopefully get all of you to join with me in the conversation here today, right in the chat box there, or if you're watching on the replay, let me know you're here watching and get in the comment section down below. And really glad to be able to get together with all of you guys here this week. It's been a little while since we've had a live stream, so hopefully we'll have a nice little chat today, talk about some gardening, talk about some things on the channel here, and maybe answer some questions or anything like that. Like I said, get in the chat box there. Let me know you're here. Let me know what you've got growing on in your gardens. We've got lots and lots of things growing on in our gardens, as hopefully you have seen in our summer garden tour videos that we put out over the last couple of weeks. And this is just kind of a real long overview, walkthrough of everything that we have growing in our different garden spaces. From our alleyway gardens, we've got some really unique spaces, some unique alleyway spaces, and we're growing lots of different things out there in those alleyways. And I believe that's part one of our summer garden tour, which you can find a link to right down below in the description of this video. So go check out those summer garden tours if you haven't gotten a chance yet to check those out and see all the really cool things that we've got growing in those alleyways in part one. And then part two, we kind of take a look at some space that we share with our neighbors in the back fence there, plus our carport and our patios, which we've been growing in for many years and do have a lot of different things growing on back there as well. We're doing a lot of harvesting right now, as those were filmed several weeks ago. So there's a lot of cool things going on in the garden right now, as we're really trying to transfer to summer to fall gardening here real soon, and we'll be working on changing over a lot of the different things that we've got growing on in those videos, um, and moving on to some of our fall gardening and winter gardening projects that we'll be getting into here real soon. So hopefully we'll start getting back on track here, as we're going to get started up here this next Sunday with our garden journal videos every Sunday. We're going to get everything right back on track. We'll talk about that in just a little bit here too as well. And again, really want to thank you all so much for joining with me, and watching this channel. It really is what makes this channel so much fun for me, to be able to get and take this time and to be able to put together the different content that we make for the channel. Now, there's really a lot of different things that have gone on around here over the last several weeks. So if you are regular to watching the channel, you do know that we haven't been putting out some videos over the last few weeks. And we've really just had some disruptions right as soon as our summer got started in May and June, and all the way up until now. I got COVID several weeks ago, or a couple months back. Actually, it was a couple of months back, and then we had some other more kind of upsetting news that happened with what we had planned for most of our season here, with not being able to continue with the contest that we started in this at the beginning of the year. So a lot of our content was geared around that, and plus being able to make some trips that I usually like to take to Los Angeles, San Francisco. I had some plans for Seattle and Portland again this year, and to make some really good videos and meetup videos and features for you guys to be able to watch this fall. But COVID really kind of put some dampers on it. Not only was I had to cancel my trip that I was going to make to Los Angeles several weeks ago, and because of the actual sickness itself, But I lost several weeks of work, and my budgets really got crunched, and so I really kind of had to scrap the whole idea of making some trips altogether for this year because of that. But we'll be getting back together with some of our favorite people in gardening and some of the really cool things that they got in the gardening world out there that I just really love to be able to go and visit and be able to make really cool videos and show and share that experience with all of you. So, you know, for the time being, you can always go back and check out some of those videos on our main video page and check out some of our video features of some of the past visits that we've made before. Or also, maybe there's some ideas that you have for future visits that we could possibly do. Mind you, we're pretty much secluded to the West Coast at the moment, but any things that are things like that that you'd like to see maybe in the gardening world, um, send me a message or get in the comments down below and send me a suggestion for that. Oh, let's catch up here. I've got Connie with us. Hey, Connie, thanks for joining with us today. She says, hi, everyone. I've been pulling up some of my summer plants and planting fall seeds. So far, I have kale, radishes, peas, and Napa cabbage sprouted. Awesome. That's awesome. You're way ahead of where I'm at the moment. But, well, that's where I'm starting right now, actually, is I'm getting ready to pull some plants, and we're going to sow out some seeds and all of that this week. So, but that's awesome. You've already got kale, radishes, peas, and some cabbage sprouting and growing already for your fall garden. That's awesome to hear. I'm really excited about some of the things that we're going to be able to get to grow here, hopefully real soon. We've had some pretty crazy weather issues over the last several weeks too, though. We've also got Matthew with us. Matthew, hey, thanks for joining us again. Awesome to see you here. Thanks for joining in our live stream. And says hello. Something ate all my baby beets. I will replant and cover them. Oh no. Yeah, one of those big things. Always pest pressures. What is it? What is it going to take next? You know, but we do our best to just kind of reseed and get started again. That's good there to get those started, and hopefully you'll be able to get some beets growing there too. I've had several things throughout this season that I plan for and all of that. You know, it's one of the things I think about is that we start, or I was thinking about earlier, kind of as I was walking around the garden, was that we start the whole season with this great picture and this great idea because we've got all these plans and all that sort of stuff. It's the beginning of the gardening season is so exciting when you get going and all that. But then you get through because that picture that you start with starts to kind of wind down a little bit as you know the pests start getting to things. The weather causes some issues with how things are growing. You know, so there's always the way we want to. You know, we got our plan started for the gardening season, and then there's the way it actually turns out, and a lot of that is ultimately beyond our control. We can try to do certain things to deal with certain things like pest pressures, or you know different things when it comes to weather as well too. So there's things we can work on to try to help maintain things, but a lot of times we're looking at things already kind of you know taken, especially with pests like you're talking about. I have a couple of things in my garden that I just kind of had to let go to them. Like there was just no way. I tried over and over a few different methods to just really kind of get them off when I first noticed it. And from that point, it was just kind of something I just had to just let them have that and moved on to other things. That's why I like growing a lot of different stuff though too, mind you, because that way if certain things don't work out, I've got a lot of other things that will too. So let's see, Matthew, new garden, didn't have enough water retention, only tiny potatoes, tiny sunflowers, good tomatoes in pots. Excellent, excellent. Need to amend the soil. Yes, if at all you're dealing with any sort of warm weather where you're going to be dealing with a lot of the you know a lot of the water evaporating out, especially if you're growing in pots and containers, you're going to need a lot of good things inside the soil to help retain water. Using a lot of like cocoa coir or something I do and I get in there so it just retains and holds and kind of sponges the water a bit, and it kind of you know it doesn't you know, if it gets warm enough, that all of that's going to dry up anyways. But it really does kind of help keep it that way. And then you want to use some mulches or some things like that to keep on a top couple of inch layer, even if in pots and things like that as well too. I find that really helpful in keeping that water from evaporating out as quickly is the point there too, because like again, if you live in a warm enough area, it's kind of tough to keep up with water retention when it comes to containers and growing in pots especially. And that's why I really do encourage anybody who grows in any warm weather, check out our videos that I have on the 5 gallon water wicking pots. Those are just so easy, cheap, and simple. They beat any other pot out there. Even if you're not living in a warm place and you just want a good pot that's going to have a good ability to retain and keep the pot moist, or the root ball moist, you know, so that those roots can constantly be feeding off of different waters. But those are great for doing that even in the warm area, just for when those days where we've got to, you know, we're busy, we've got things going on and we can't quite get to certain things. Those things will give you, even in the hottest days, those things have given me at least a day or two of extra time to be able to get to them versus a pot which is going to dry up in hours in a day. You know what I mean? So I really do encourage those. We use a lot of those around the garden. I still have regular pots, but I try to get out there every day, sometimes twice a day in the heat like we've seen here before. But water retention in a warm area is really important to getting good growth out of your plants. And, I've got great examples of that in my garden right now too, actually, that maybe we could even talk about in an upcoming video. But definitely encourage you to check out 5 gallon water wicking buckets, or anyone else watching this video who's dealing with a similar issue when it comes to that. There are a lot of different wicking methods and all of that as well too. I encourage you to check out those too. There might be other types of pots or things that you have that are different. There might be some other methods that you might want to try as well too. So check out the different ones out there as well too. But I really do stand by those just simple 5 gallon with a net pot. In fact, I've got one upgrade I probably would encourage people, if you're watching now and you're going to see that. Instead of one net pot, you could also put, maybe, I'm thinking I'm going to do 3 this next time, so that it's really got an ability to pull that up there. But the one has worked okay. I'm just going to see if that maybe improves it, or I don't know. I'm just going to try it out and see. Doesn't seem like it would hurt at all, you know. Let's see, I let my lettuce go to seed and have thousands of baby lettuce growing. I think most of them will become microgreens. Yes, oh, so that's awesome. Nothing like having some volunteers. In fact, I did let a couple of my lettuce plants from this last fall go to seed, and they've been kind of going around. So we'll see where maybe we get some different lettuce plants popping up around the garden, possibly in some pots and different things like that though too. But yeah, definitely maybe some microgreens when they're in some places that you don't necessarily want them to be. Let them grow just a little bit big enough, and then pull them out, stick them in a salad for sure. It's a great idea. Yeah, that's another thing though too. I'm really excited about getting into the fall gardening, because we had such a great spring and early summer season with all of our greens around here, and I miss all of those salads I was getting to eat from all the different varieties of lettuce. And so I'm going to try even a couple of different varieties I've got some seed for that we didn't put in some spaces. So that's something I'm going to get into doing here real soon as well. Ain't nothing like fresh greens out of the garden. It's just one of my favorite things. It's just growing lettuce and the different types of lettuces, red lettuces. I've got these baby lettuces I've been really liking over the last couple of seasons. They're just these really small heads of lettuce, some seeds that I got from Baker Creek Heirloom Seed Company. Really nice, cool little heads of lettuce, and they were really delicious, really delicious. So I'm going to be growing more of those this fall season, and definitely I'm going to try to didn't have very good luck with the spinach I wanted to grow this last year. I started some flats of spinach, and they don't take very long, man. If you're not growing those, I suggest almost just direct sowing with those things and just don't even worry about it. Get them right into the ground, and then definitely any sort of heat wave is going to get those growing seed stalks, and that's just yeah. So I had a bunch of spinach that just did not work out. I need to work on finding a more heat tolerant though too for next fall, so that we can have something that'll last a little bit longer into our growing season. But I think the ones that I'm growing right now already will be good to start for the fall season as we're going into the cool and into winter. So I think that'll work out great there. So that's what we're gonna do. I can't wait to have spinach in the greens as well too. Baracho Joe. Hey Joe, how's it going? Sweet, I made it. Yes, awesome. It's great. It's great to have you all with me here, joining in for the live stream. We're just kind of talking about some things growing on in the garden, what we got to growing on, and at this moment, things that I'm going to be growing on as we get going into the fall season here. Uh, I thought okra would do okay. Never even saw it. Is that so, Matthew? Are you talking about okra that you grew? It didn't come up. You didn't get any fruits, or it didn't just didn't come up at all, or but I had a couple of okra plants. I didn't really um, get a chance yet to use any of the harvest that I've had so far because things that I've got going on. I've been really busy and all of that. But I do have some more that are coming up, nice and young okra that are coming up real soon. So I'm hopefully going to get to try those out because I want to taste them. Never had okra before. But our plants actually, again, did all right. They've done pretty decently. Matthew says I planted seed. Nothing. Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah, exactly. That's a bummer. Yeah, because those for us have done really well. And what I want to also try maybe this next year too is I've seen some red varieties as well. I really love the flowers. The flowers have got some character to them. They actually open up and close up, which I thought was kind of cool. And but they really produce some of the okra when they get going. So I can tell it's probably best to just get those nice and young and get those pulling off to keep the plant growing. If you get some plants coming up though too, so hopefully you'll get a chance to grow those this next season. Finally, one pod on my okra. Oh yeah, yeah. Hopefully you get more pods too. Hopefully I do too as well. I'm waiting on a couple that I have that are just starting to sprout, and then hopefully I'll get to try those because I really want to try it. My tomatoes are mad and the peppers are barely holding on. Now I don't know if I should take the word mad literally or not, or if the tomatoes are doing good, or if you know what I mean. So Joe, what do you mean on the mad there? Are they doing good? I hope. I hope. And the peppers are barely holding on. Pepper. Oh, that's unfortunate. I hope that they get doing better. I do have a few varieties of my peppers that aren't doing very well this year. One variety that usually always does really well for me each year is this really cool variety called Dos de Slandes. It's a sweet pepper, grows these really long red pods that look like they're like this big hot pepper, but they're actually just this really sweet, juicy, sweet pepper. And they get this really deep, dark red, and they're just so delicious. But those plants are not doing very well this year, so I'm not getting very many of those. And I've got a few others, but I've got a bunch of plants that are doing better than I thought. And the plan this year was to grow more sweet peppers because that's what I use the most. So we've got a lot of sweet peppers that are about to come off of our plants that we have in the back and all of that. So our peppers are doing all right, doing good. I wish some of the other ones were doing better, but hopefully yours get back on track and give you maybe a nice bumper crop coming up, you know, hopefully. And the tomatoes, tomatoes, I don't know. I mean, if your tomatoes are doing good, if that's what mad means, or if they're just mad at whatever and they're not growing, then they're in the same track with my tomatoes. My tomatoes have been not growing. I have one plant that's growing some and doing really well in the heat. Very heat tolerant variety, and even growing out of a pot, I'm getting some decent sized tomatoes that I can even slice with. So I'm really happy with that plant and that variety. Hopefully gonna be able to save some seeds off of that and keep growing that one, because I have to make that a mainstay, especially with the weather that I have. And maybe even grow more of that actual variety so I have some good heat tolerant plants, because the heat and weather around here is just getting ridiculous each summer. You know, I'm telling you, we are having more and more sustained and longer heat waves here in Southern Oregon, and it's just getting more and more every year, and I'm battling with that. And it's seriously, the tomatoes are the story when it comes to that. They like a warm weather. They're a warm weather plant. They like warm weather, but you know, when you're getting above 95 or so and sustained above into the hundreds sometimes like that, those plants are not going to be able to hold on to flowers. They're not going to produce unless you get them to start producing early enough, which was kind of the problem I had this year, to get those first ones to set and start growing fruit. If you get that to kind of happen, they'll handle a little bit of heat for a little while as those start to ripen up. So I've had a few of those, just a handful of those throughout the plants, but for the most part, a lot of what I used to get several years ago when I grow the plants, I'd get tons and tons of tomatoes throughout the whole summer, even during some of our heat waves that we would have. But our heat waves are now like, we're having more of them closer together, and it's not allowing the weather to get down below 95 for very long, you know, which isn't allowing some of that fruit to set very well. So it's just, yeah, it's been kind of a tough summer when it comes to tough summer when it comes to tomatoes for us this year. All right, so let's see here. Yes, shade cloth. And that's going to be a big thing I'm going to work on this next season, though, too. Is I'm going to start looking at some shade cloth projects to possibly put in a couple of areas to help a few things out, especially the blueberries. I mean, I've tried them on this end over here. The only other place I really had for them to be able to put them was down on the other end of the alleyway, and I thought it would be a little bit more shadier for them so they wouldn't get burnt out so much during our heat waves. But the same case for them this year. We got a lot of like just kind of crispy leaves, and it's just not good for the plants. And so I'm going to try to figure out some way to set up some sort of shade cloth kind of thing to go over and help those kind of sustain throughout the hotter time of the year. And same with a couple of other places around the garden where that's becoming an issue as well too. Just a lot of sun, hot and direct for so much time is going to put out a lot of different plants you're trying to grow. I grew shishito peppers this year. Oh no, allergic to shishito peppers. That would be really unfortunate to find out that you're growing something and grow that plant all the way out and then find out you can't enjoy it because you're allergic to it. Oh, that's really unfortunate. Not sure what you could do other than maybe give them away to some friends or that sort of thing. But lots of friends, lots of people love a lot of different things, a lot of different harvest baskets and stuff like that. Hand those out when you can with the things that you don't get a chance to use in the garden. Plus, if you're growing something that you just ultimately can't eat, or there's some things I like to grow that I just don't want to eat. In fact, I thought I had some right here, but I think they're in the other room. But I harvested up some of our really hot peppers. We've got some super hots growing in there. I've got a pepper called the Primatali, which is considered by the people in the pepper community to be the world's hottest pepper at the moment. and I've got some of those growing out, and they're starting to ripen and all of that too. So I'm hoping maybe I can find a friend or somebody who might want to take those and use those. I might use one or so and kind of use them in a project I'm doing with some other peppers, just to kind of heat them up just a little bit, kind of raise the heat a little bit, but not. I'm gonna cut that heat down a bit because I cannot eat those super hot peppers like that. But I love growing the plants, and I love growing the different types of pods. They got, they're so interesting. The plants themselves, the pods, just so I like growing a few of those in the garden every year, even though I find people that I can give those away to versus consuming them myself. Habanero harvest. Yeah, habaneros. If I had, you know, that's probably about as hot as I think I'd ever go if I was to eat some, but I would still probably cut that down a little bit. Harvest on the ground. Yep, yep. Okay, there you go. Then you're talking about the same mad that I'm talking about with my. Yes, our tomatoes are mad here as well, for sure. But yeah, the that's just one of those unfortunate things that I'm going to have to just kind of work a little bit more this off season and prepare for next season and look for maybe some more different heat tolerant varieties, and that's probably what we'll work on this next year. Is just find and get some different heat tolerant varieties and get some different kinds of flavors and types of tomatoes that grow best in the heat, and give those a shot around the garden spaces this next year and see if we can get a better production throughout the year in our climate, because our climate's definitely changing. It's definitely moving to a hotter, more drier climate, and I can tell that just by the tomatoes. I mean, I used to grow tomatoes in these same places, all of that throughout the summer without a problem, all different varieties. I thought we were just this great, like, middle area throughout the country that could grow all these different things. We had the perfect weather for it. But over these last, few years, that's really just changed a lot. Especially so when it comes to another problem that we're having again this year, that's just another yearly thing as well, and that's wildfires. Yeah, giving away to your neighbors or friends is the best part of growing your own food. Yes, I love it. That's and that, kind of being able to share with people the things that you're doing and let them appreciate your gardens as well. It's a great reward in the long run at the end of the season, especially when you grow as much as I do. And I have a lot of different things that I grow. I have my neighbor next door here and another neighbor that I'm constantly just, here you go, here you go, here you go. Yeah, the heat itself versus the direct sun. Connie said she had a 70% shade cloth over tomatoes, and it's just too hot. And I think that's it. It's just that sustained heat. You know, so I don't know. That's just hopefully again, like I said, we'll find some varieties and look into that this off season and really work on some of these known heat tolerant different varieties. We'll try growing those this next season and see if we can possibly change up our tomato situation to fit our changing climate. You know, just next is out 40% shade cloth anymore. See decline in production. That's good to keep in mind. I'll look into checking that out. Habaneros for making spicy jerk. Oh, I bet that's good. Yeah, I bet you that's good stuff. Yeah, and I'm sure that's kind of it though too, Connie. Yeah, saying that the difference between where you're growing from and how that, and also how long I mean, if you're just like wide open out there and that sun is just beating down in some of these really sustained heat waves, I can imagine it's just hard for most plants to be able to, sustain that. So you're going to need some sort of protection, and possibly over 40 for some people, definitely. Just to even have a chance, I suppose, in some places. Yeah, spicy turkey sounds delicious. It sure does. All right, all right. Really glad all of you have taken your time today to join with me here, hang out with me for this live stream. Just kind of just, as you can tell, just chilling here, talking about the garden, talking about the different things that are growing on, and basically at this point talking about kind of the weather and the different things in our summers here and how different that is for us. Let's see. Hopefully I'm still going. For this one too. I don't know. You guys can see me here. Let me know if you can still see me live. My screen has froze up, except for the chat box is working alright, but and the picture's frozen. But you can still hear me though, huh? I wonder what that's about. Let me see. Alright. That's our issue. We've got only got so much battery on there. I don't have a... I've got to find a fix for that if we're going to keep the live stream moving. So give me one moment, everybody. Be right back. It's going to reach from there. Oh no, that was not going to reach. So that means all right. Hopefully. All right, now hopefully that'll keep our battery powered up. All right, I made it. I made it. Thanks for sticking with me there, everybody. Oh, I thought I had everything set up. And that was the one thing I totally forgot about was the battery power because I'm using the phone for this live stream this time versus the other camera I use for the live streams on most of the time. So, uh, let's see here. Joe, gotta jump in the pool. Thanks for the content, kind sir. Yes, yes, you betcha. Thank you. We'll have more coming up here on the channel. Some more garden journals and some different projects and things I'm gonna get working on into this fall coming up. So keep tuned in. Keep following along with us there, Joe. And we'll be um, back to normal here real soon here with regular videos. Let's see. Thought it was a slow sip of coffee. I know. It sure picked the right moment, right? The right moment to freeze. You can't get that nice little. You can't get that nice smile freeze, and there's none of that gonna happen. It's gonna be when you're sipping coffee or scratching your nose or something. All right, all right, all right. Excellent. Oh, Brampton Gardner. Hey, how you doing? Good to see you there. Thanks for joining with us. Thanks for coming in to our live stream today. We've been talking a bit about what's going on in our gardens this summer. As we've been talking actually a lot about the tomato issue for some of us growing in these warmer climates. Connie's down in Texas and similar here. I don't know. We're getting these really long, sustained heat waves here in Southern Oregon, even, and that's really just changing the way a lot of my tomatoes are producing over these last couple of seasons. And what I've been talking a lot actually about is plans for next season when it comes to some of our tomatoes and trying to plan ahead for some of these changes that are starting to become more normal. These heat waves each year over the last 3-4 years have been slowly becoming more and more and longer and more sustained heat. I think we've had definitely more days or more time over 100 degrees in Southern Oregon than we did last year. And last year I thought was a lot. So it was a similar situation with the tomatoes. I've kind of had my hopes up. We did have kind of some really cool weather at the beginning of our summer, late spring. So I was really kind of hopeful that maybe we would get away with maybe a cooler summer this year. But no, that turned right around very quickly around here, and the heat just got caught going. And yeah, I know you're up there up north where you've got an opposite situation. So hopefully your tomatoes are producing really well. You're doing great up there with those. But down here a little more south and to the west, finding that things are really changing a lot when it comes to our heat waves. And so I'm gonna, again, like I was talking about, plans for next summer to look into and research some really good known heat tolerant varieties of tomatoes, and we're going to really work on those and grow those and see if that just changes our midsummer tomato production out better. I mean, I love tomatoes. I want to have tomatoes. It's one of our favorite things to grow. It's very similar to peppers. So many different varieties, so many different plants, and so many different types of tomatoes that they're just a really fun thing to grow throughout the gardening season. And I love having a lot of different varieties of tomatoes growing in my garden. But one of the things that I always find that works really well is cherry tomatoes. I have a variety, Prax cherry tomatoes. Those continue to grow every year. In fact, they're starting to ripen up and produce like crazy right now. And that'll go on all through the fall, and I'll have these nice cherry tomatoes that will sustain me until these plants start putting on their fall crops, and hopefully I get some decent sized tomatoes this year too from some of the plants that we got. We got a lot of dark tomatoes. That's kind of the theme on the back fence, is the different dark tomatoes we're growing. The Cherokee purples, the True Black Brandywine. I've this black from Tula, Ukrainian variety. We have a variety called Black Beauty, and I know there's another variety, Black Krim, I think is another one. And so we've got these different dark tomato varieties back there. And one of them, the Black Beauty variety, is definitely a dark tomato that grows well in the heat. So I've got this other one called Big Red Chief, and I've got this other one called Black Beauty, the dark one. And those two, right straight through the summer, are doing really well through the heat. Yep, yep. We were talking about some shade cloth there as well too, and that's something that I'll try to incorporate into some different places where I'm seeing some issues with that. But one of the things when it comes to some of the longer sustained heat that we're dealing with, that even with shade, it's the overall heat. We're getting days that are 95 and above, and lots and lots of days that are even 100 and above. And those days are sustaining themselves 3-4 days long, and then with some, you know, like 98 to 96, 95 maybe, and then all the way start going back up into the hundreds again. And then that's just kind of how our summer's been, without dipping down into those low 90s, you know, to even give those tomatoes a chance to be able to form actual tomatoes, that, or even form flowers. I mean, the flowers get out, they try to come out, but by the time they get out, they're so fragile, they just dry right up and fall right off. So they don't even get a chance really. So hopefully we can find some more heat tolerant varieties that'll just, you know, that won't that'll just grow right through some of that. Misting watering system's a good idea too. In fact, I really like that right in the carport area, right in between there and the patio. That would be perfect for a misting system, and just kind of spray it out into the patio there. That's something to think about. But we got a lot of other things growing on that are doing really, really well. I know those sweet potatoes, those things are just stretching out all over the place right now. They're really growing well throughout this heat. They don't mind at all. And those are also edible leaves as well too. So, you know, you can harvest some of those and cook with those and use those in the kitchen as well. I've tried a couple of different things. They're not too bad. I don't mind them at all. Um, and let's see, we got a lot of melons. Yeah, I've got some cantaloupes. We've been harvesting up a couple of different varieties of cantaloupe I've got growing in a couple places. Plus a couple of different watermelon varieties are producing some fruits too. I didn't really have my hope up for those because we got those really started late, and but one of our plants really stretched out, really got going, and it's producing a decent size one. You know, it's a mid-sized variety. It's not meant to grow a big, large size, but it's a decent size. You know, not as big as I would like even for its variety though. But hopefully we'll get something there. There's a couple of those, so hopefully we'll get some good watermelon there. And I know the cantaloupe is great. I harvested one the other day, and it's delicious. I'm waiting for about I think about four more to ripen up right now. The peaches, the peach tree, amazing. The peach tree has just been amazing this year. Really enjoying those peaches coming off of the peach tree. They're even better than I thought. Just these nice little small size peaches, but we got a lot of them off of the tree, so it's done really well. Some of the apple varieties are doing okay. One of them, it's got a lot on there, but we had some sort of bug issue with it too, so most of those are not going to or didn't make it as I was hoping. But yeah, so the trees have done all right. Let's let's see. Cucumbers. Lots of cucumber plant. Lots of cucumber plant. We got the towers in the back patio growing some cucumbers up in it. They're spreading and going everywhere. But similar to the tomatoes, I'm not getting any fruits growing at this time. They're not dropping flowers though. They got tons of flowers growing off of them. I'm just not seeing any fruiting flowers, you know. So um, not coming off of that plant. I do have one variety of cucumber that I've got some slicers growing. They're growing okay. And then I've got a pickling variety growing across the way on our trellises that we built up this summer. And those are doing all right. They're just kind of hard to keep up with. I'm looking at these little small cucumbers going, okay, these will be ready in a day or two. And I come back a day or two later and they're just big and yellow. And I'm like, how did I miss these things? So just trying to keep up with finding and getting the ones that are just right for harvesting. But yeah, we've got some growing off of those. I've got an Armenian cucumber variety that's just spreading out and growing like crazy. We've got some really big, nice sized, giant fruit. I grew one just to see how big it could grow, but they're really actually really good, about mid-size and young. So I'm taking off most of them about so big, you know, while they're young, and they're juicier, tastier, and the seeds are less developed. So those are really good. But I did grow one to see how long I could get it, and it's pretty big too. So I think I'm gonna show that in an upcoming video as well here coming up. Click. Yeah, collecting rain's a good idea. I have a rain collection system that I want to try to maybe expand on a little bit this next season. We've got Lita with us. Lita, thanks for joining the live stream here and joining in. She's got losses, beans, peas, did terrible for me in the spring, summer. Getting new seeds in this week. Notice for the second year, purple tomatoes don't ripen before it starts to cool down here. No choices for next year. Yeah, I guess it depends on the variety of purple tomato you've got. Squashes, cukes went crazy, blue, and raspberries in the ground, strawberries. Oh yeah, thank you. Yeah, so glad you're back. Thanks. Enjoy your vlogs. Awesome. Glad you enjoyed the vlogs, the videos. Like I was telling everybody, we're gonna get back started regular with those again. We just had some issues coming up on that. The winds, you talk about blue and raspberries. I don't have raspberries growing in the garden yet. Again, I did try raspberries in the ground years ago, and they grew really successfully, but so successfully they were encroaching everywhere because I didn't understand at the time in my new gardening uh, knowledge at that time. Where I put them wasn't the best spot, and they just started spreading. And it took me 2 seasons to fully eradicate the raspberries out of that actual garden bed that I grew them in. And then I moved them into some containers, and they grew okay. And then again, that was probably a couple of seasons back, and that's when we had one of those first real heat wave summers, and the pot and the container wasn't, you know, one of the things we were talking about earlier too. Probably the soil probably wasn't retaining water as well. I probably could have used a drip on it or something, and drip irrigation system probably going to it just to kind of keep it from drying out or whatever. I don't know. I think I just burnt them out is what ended up happening that summer. And so we haven't had any raspberries back since then. But I did move our blueberries though from being in the ground this last year to containers. So we do grow them in large storage containers, and they're growing really well. They're growing well in these containers. They produced, it was the first year all of our different varieties of blueberries produced blueberries. And each of them produced, I mean, plenty of blueberries. I had a lot of them. I've got a bag of them in the freezer still from earlier this year. So the blueberries did really great. Just the problem is that where they're growing, like I mentioned earlier, I think it's just getting too much of that sustained direct sun. It's burning out some of the leaves. And so that's a great place where we're going to try and implement maybe some shade cloth and things like that in order to help them out this next year. Yeah, the blueberries were great. They really did a lot better in the container for me than they were in the ground. And I'm quite sure that doesn't mean that they're going to, that's the case for everybody. I'm just saying that where I picked in our alleyway garden, what was probably in the ground and how that soil makeup was probably not the best for them. And we're able to actually just make it a more acidic soil we put in there and give it more direct feeding for a more acidic plant like a blueberry. And then that, I think, really did the trick. Great production on blueberries this year. And you said strawberries too. Strawberries were awesome this year as well. Bags of those in the freezer as well. Strawberries are everywhere. They're growing all over the place, and it was one of the things I did talk about in our last garden tour, the summer garden tour. I talked about doing a video on propagation of strawberries. I'm going to do that. I'm working on that, and hopefully we'll get a little, just kind of small, short little propagation video on strawberries, because I've got a lot of that to do with a lot of the plants that are growing everywhere. Because that's one thing about strawberries, they will reproduce, and they will reproduce like mad. And I started with just a few different strawberry plants many years ago, and now I've got strawberries growing all over the place. I'm always constantly finding new places to put new strawberry plants with my new starts. So we'll be starting up some new ones from runners that are coming off of our plants, and I'll do a little propagation video on those and talk about that here coming up real soon. I'm working on that for sure. Silver Slicer keeps. Gotta go. Catch you later, Matt. Matt, absolutely. Thank you for joining us. Hopefully you caught that goodbye, but thanks for joining us. Thank you all for joining us. It's a good reminder to just thank you all for joining me here for this live stream. Just kind of chatting and going, talking about. I haven't been able to get videos kind of put together quite yet. I've got some plans for some videos and all of that. We've kind of had to retool our whole plans for everything that we were doing this year. I mean, with the contest and the COVID issue that I had a couple of months back, that just really put a lot of our content plans really behind, and really cut a lot of it out actually. And so kind of re-gearing, just replanning, rethinking about some things that we need to do. Plus, I do actually work a day job too, actually, and I've had to work a little bit more actually to kind of make up for some of those weeks that I wasn't able to work during the time I had COVID. So I've been busy, but hopefully able to get us right back on track here real soon as we go into the fall season, and just kind of hopefully keep this garden journal thing going, plus some other plans I have for the channel coming up too. I'll hopefully be able to announce to you guys as well coming up here in a few, hopefully a few weeks, maybe a month or so. I'm going to have hopefully some things coming up. I'm constantly planning and thinking about new things to do. And again, I was talking about plans for our trips and our visits and features. I was really hoping to get back on track and keep that running throughout the season, those features, but that'll have to move and hold off too as well because of COVID and everything. And that changed, again, some of our big content plans for the year. And but we're gonna get everything back on track. I got plans to get us going here and really hopefully have a good growing fall season for our garden, be able to share some of the things that are doing there, and maybe some overwintering things that we're going to try out. I'm going to try a couple of things as far as that goes to see if we can keep and sustain some food production from our garden throughout the whole winter season into this next year. Plus we've got here in a few weeks we've got garlic coming up. Garlic's always a big thing for our fall season as well too. So we got a lot of really cool things coming up, a lot of things that we'll be covering, and some actual specific videos I want to make on a couple of specific things that we'll work on as well too this fall. But again, thank you all so much for joining with me and watching these videos and making it worth putting together and taking the time to do it, or even think about and worry about it when I'm not doing it too, because that's just as stressful, I think, as actually putting together some of the content sometimes when you want to try to do it and put it out on a certain schedule, is when you're not meeting that schedule and you know people are watching and people are looking forward to some of those videos. So that does get a little bit stressful too, but sometimes it's just there's nothing I can do other than, like I decided to do today, is just get the live stream out, get the live camera, sit together with all of you guys, chat about the garden, let you know what's going on, and catch up a little bit. You know, we can do that just a little bit more, plus a couple of other live stream ideas I've got coming up. And also thinking of redoing, and you guys should let me know actually, if you're all watching up to this point, or any of you watching on the replay up to this point, if you've all had a chance, and I don't think I have it up anymore, but if y'all had the chance, last year I put together a live stream where we watched and viewed the old Little Shop of Horrors movie, because it's a public domain movie, so I can present it to you all here through this channel. And we all watched together this movie and did kind of like a movie night on Halloween together, to kind of hang out, you know, if you're sitting at home and not doing much and just handing out candy to the kids in the neighborhood or something. Maybe you'd want to get together again this Halloween. If that sounds like a fun thing you'd like to do, we could possibly put that again together. Maybe even make it an annual thing where we get together and do a fun holiday annual live stream where we hang out together and watch that movie. It's a really kind of a fun, neat little movie. It's the original take on the whole Little Shop of Horrors. If you've seen any of the different renditions of Little Shop of Horrors, I've seen Little Shop of Horrors probably 4 or 5 different times, produced by different theater groups, and then of course the couple of different versions that they've put together in the movies too. But if that sounds like a good idea, get in the comments, get in the chat box, let me know if that's something you might want to do, and we'll possibly set that up for this upcoming Halloween in this fall as well too. Oh, raspberries in a large pot, 3rd year, and they've not grown much. Yeah, that's, you know, other than them getting burnt out, I'm pretty sure I just burnt those ones out, so I didn't give them much of a chance to even try. Not sure if the whole idea of how a raspberry grows is really conducive to the idea of having it in a pot. You know, to have that root structure kind of trapped inside of a pot. I don't know. It's, you know, so there's possibly people who've done it and live in just the right area where it could work out really well. But I'm not sure. I might actually try again in a different location of the garden so that they can grow in ground. But I'm thinking, you know, in the back corner area of our back fence line there, it's kind of this kind of dead zone area of how the road and the alleyway all kind of come together with this. I don't know. I think it might be a good spot to be able to put some raspberries right up in that area there, because I don't think they would grow much or spread out much, get a chance to spread out much. So it might be a cool little island spot that they could go into and grow a little bit and be able to kind of spread as much as they can, maybe a little bit more than they could with a pot, but yeah, probably work a little bit better. I love gardeners getting together on live streams, chatting. Absolutely. I love it too. I love getting together with gardeners anytime to talk about gardening. I'm a nerd about it. I just like talking about growing stuff or all that sort of stuff. Or even, really again too is like you're talking about also being able to help people out with suggestions and thoughts on different things when it comes to growing. I'm constantly learning too when it comes to gardening. I've got a little bits of this and that that I can share and help out and do that, but I like getting together with other people to learn as well too, because I take in as far more than far more than I actually can give out. So I think it's a great thing as well too. How to Gardens here. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. How are you doing? Hope everything's going great with you and everybody else who's joining with us here on the live stream. If you're joining with us live, get in the chat box. Let us know you're here. Let us know what you're growing on. And if you're watching on the replay, get down in the comments section below and let us know that you're here watching the live stream or catching up with us on our replay. And let us know what you got growing on. Let me know if you got any suggestions for videos and things that you would like to see on our channel coming up. If you've seen or had a chance to check out all the different types of videos we've made over the last few years, I've tried all sorts of different types of things and experimented with different types of videos and all of that sort of stuff. So if you've seen a lot of our different videos, get in the comments section or get in the comment section of some of the different videos that you like and you like that type of content, and let me know. I'll see those comments and I'll be able to gear up future content towards that sort of stuff if that's the sort of thing that you guys like. So hopefully I can get bit of feedback from all of you who like to watch this channel, and let me know what are the things that you really like to see out of the content that we produce. And then that's what we'll kind of work on and gear towards as we work into this next growing season, or actually this fall growing into this next growing season throughout the winter too. I'm good, thanks. Yes, absolutely awesome. Um, let's see here. What do I want to talk about next? Talk about all the different things growing on in the garden. Been dealing with a lot of the heat. It's just been getting really, really warm. We actually got down below 95 for a day. Yesterday it felt like it was really cold out for some reason, and it was like 89 degrees, 90, like right at 89, 90. So we got this one little dip yesterday, but it's right back up today. It's heading back to 100 again. So we'll be dealing with some more above 95s for a while. So again, we're not giving the garden too much of a chance. And we're also really in another part of the season that's just not become very enjoyable each and every season is all the wildfires. And where I live is a place in a valley. It's a big valley, the Rogue Valley here in southern Oregon. And it just really collects a lot of this smoke just like crazy. It just sits in here like a bowl. And you imagine being big enough to look at the valley like it's a bowl. It would just be like a soup of smoke, that just kind of gets on us. And it's just, every year and each year again, I was hoping we had some cooler nights in the late spring, early summer. We had some rain. We had more rain than we'd had in recent years. So I was really kind of hopeful that some of that would be helpful to the dry years that we have. But I'm sure that just soaked that up, and it was probably nothing compared to what we really needed. And you can tell that at this time of year because everything's dry as all get out, and fires are popping up all over the place. And we've got one that's it's probably 100, 200 miles north of us, which is a good ways away. But as big as it is and as unsustained as the fire is, a lot of that smoke comes right down here without a problem and starts getting us. We've got Northern California just right across the border. Is just maybe half an hour or so's drive from where I'm at is the California border. Just right across the border there are some really big fires that are going on in Northern California. In fact, right now, one of the things you can tell that when the fires are really bad up in Northern California like that, one of the issues that we have here in the Rogue Valley is that all of our hotels get inundated by all of the firefighters that have to come into the area to fight all these fires. And so you see all of these big lines of CAL FIRE trucks at all of these different hotels all over the city, just trying to house all of the needed firefighters it takes to fight all these wildfires in the area. And I'm sure that's the same thing for when it comes to Grants Pass and other places just a bit north of us too, for those fires up there as well, for the Oregon firefighters that are fighting those too. So yeah, it's a crazy time of year when it gets to this point. We've had a few fires already over the last 3-4 weeks, last month, and like I said, a big one down in California for a little while, and then this one that just popped up a couple weeks or a week or so ago up north of us, and now we've got other bigger ones in Northern California again, and all those California firefighters are back in the valley again, and trying to fight that fire that's down there. So yeah, it's a crazy time. It's different. When you walk outside and it smells like like a campfire just constantly. It's just the smoke's in the air. You smell it. You can't see all. I mean, one of the great things about living where I live, especially down in the valley like this, is all of the hills, that are just rolling all around us, all the way around this valley. It's beautiful. It's just really one of the really beautiful parts of the whole country. And to be where I'm at, it's just a great view all the time. And when it's smoky like that, you can't see none of that. You can't see any of that. And then when the sun is coming through, you can look directly at the sun, and it's red, just barely just burning through all of that thick smoke. So yeah, it's a real bummer to see it like that, especially during one of the more beautiful times of the year, summertime. But I'll tell you though, plants, when you get to gardening though, gardening ain't gonna mind that too much at all. The only real problem, I think, when it comes to fires and big large fires bringing a lot of that smoke, is the ash, and the ash build up on the leaves of your plants. But I think with a good nice watering, if you're doing a good like foliar watering and getting all the leaves of your plants and washing that off, I'm sure that ash will add some nutrients and some minerals and whatnot, and could be pretty good for the soil as well in the long run too. So I don't think it's enough to like create like such an issue with making it like too acidic or anything like that. I think it, just unless you're like really close to some real wildfires and it's just really, really a lot of ash, then it might be a little bit of an issue when it comes to the pH balance and that sort of stuff. However, the heat has been horrible. Yeah, that's been one of the bigger things though too. Like I said, I've been working a lot, trying to catch up with some of my budgets for the year, and so I've been trying to get that all managed. So when I'm finding time, in the little bit of time that I have to think about possibly putting together some video projects, the heat is just so much. Even when I have that free time, it's just so hard to get out there and even try to put together some of the and to do some of the videos. So I end up wimping out, a couple of different times too when it comes to it, and not getting out there and actually making some videos like I want to be doing. So, but I'm gonna get out there, make some stuff anyways. We've got a couple of things that just have to be done, no matter what. I've got some potatoes out there that need to be harvested and pulled out, and they're ready to go. Probably over the last couple of weeks have been actually really ready to go. So, which, they're in there. I've got them covered up nicely, and so, they're in there and doing all right. But again, they might just get to the point where they, if it gets cool enough or whatever, they might just start re-sprouting again real soon. So and start growing new plants. So before that ends up happening, we have to bust into those and really check out, really what I want to see is how well our potatoes in a box did. So we'll check that out. That's what's going to be our next video that we're going to put out for our next garden journal. And we'll bear the heat this week. It's going to still be warm again, but I'm going to get out there and get it done anyways. We're going to start getting these garden journals and get this channel back on track with some more videos And hopefully some more live streams too. You know, hopefully we'll have a guest or two come and join with us here in the next few weeks, and have some more live streams, and just get out some more content, and just get together with this channel, and just have some fun with everything that's going on. Let's see here. Peanuts have grown really good in this heat. I'm surprised. Yeah, peanuts, man. They're one of those kind of heat tolerant, heat loving plants. Especially if you're able to keep them. You know, I'd imagine you want to, you know, have a nice watered, maybe, you know, as long as you're keeping things watered well enough, because those peanuts are only going so far into that top layer of the garden there. So they're basically almost like, you know, just right low root level, you know, when they're dropping in there. But yeah, I grew peanuts in my side alleyway garden a couple of seasons ago, and I was really surprised, even with the hot weather and everything, how well they did. They did really well. So I think I might try to grow some peanuts again soon. They're just a fascinating plant. I love the whole idea of how they grow. You know, it's sprouting from the plant into the ground, and then growing the peanut in the ground from there. That's just a plants do the coolest things. You know what I mean? And peanuts are an example of some of the coolest things that plants do. You know, and I want to get. I think I should get some peanuts growing back in the garden again too, for sure. Just listening, doing something. Yeah, awesome. It's cool. Yeah, I almost think that maybe in some way too, it would be kind of cool to almost have like a live stream podcast thing too, you know, for people if they just, you know, I'm one of those people who likes to listen to podcasts. I like just listening while I'm doing things. You know what I mean? So I totally get what you're talking about there. Got to do something. I'm that guy. I'm that person for sure. But oh yeah, actually, you know what? Now I'm looking down and seeing that I titled this beforehand a couple of days ago when I set up the live stream and was planning on, you know what, I've just got to get together. If I'm going to not make the video I needed to make that day because it was just too hot for me, then what I need to do is schedule a live stream and come and hang out with you guys and talk about the garden and talk about the channel and what's going on and just kind of hang out a little bit if I wasn't going to make that video. So that's what I set up. But I made the title, We've Hit It Big. And for all of you who are hanging out with me now or watching up to this point of the live stream or replay, again, hit that thumbs up. I haven't mentioned that. I need to mention that at the beginning or a few times throughout the live stream. But make sure you hit the thumbs up for sure. Get in the comment section. Let me know that you're here. But the We've Hit It Big, I put that on there. It was the one thing I could think of at the moment while I was thinking of a title, because we kind of had an issue with our Facebook page for the Urban Gardener channel, our Facebook page, over the last, I'd say like 2-3 weeks, about 2-3 weeks now. And I don't know what to do with it, really, to tell you the truth. I mean, it's really kind of cool, but the page, my posts that I'm posting, and I've actually started producing more posts on that page because I linked it up with our Instagram account that we have too. So again, if you're also not on our Instagram, or if you're not joined in with our Facebook group, the Let's Get Growing Facebook group, get down in the links and down in the description down to those there. Come join with us there. Come follow me on our Instagram. And but I've been posting more, or trying to post more pictures and photographs and things, you know, just kind of throughout the season of all the different things that we're growing. And over the last 3 or 4 weeks, those posts that have been getting linked to our Facebook page, and a couple of other posts that I've posted directly to that Facebook page have just really lit up. I mean, we've got some pictures and a few posts that are in the 40, 50, 70, 80,000 reactions. I mean, 1,000 reactions would be mind-blowing to me. But I've got posts that are in the tens of thousands of reactions. tens of thousands of reactions. I can't believe it. Like a couple of them just start blowing up, just unbelievable. And I have the like notification settings and stuff, and it's just I've had to turn some of them off because it just keeps going and keeps going and keeps going. And and it's not just like some of the posts have like multiple pictures. So I have a post of Nancy's uh, five colored Chinese pepper plant that she's sent me seeds for that I've grown in our garden. And I took some pictures of it and showed the different color stages of the different peppers and everything. And I shared that through the Instagram. We got our regular handful of Instagram likes, but on the Facebook page, it caught wind somewhere. Somebody shared it here, someone shared it there, and the next thing you know, some of these pictures and some of these posts have thousands of shares. Thousands of shares. I mean, now that's really cool. I mean, like to think of like anything that I've produced or anything that I've done as far as content making, getting that sort of reaction is any sort of content creator's dream is to be able to see and look at a post and see your reactions in the tens of thousands. I mean, I mean, if you go to our Facebook page and you look at some of those posts that we've been posting recently, and if you go into the individual pictures of some of those posts, especially like I said, the five Chinese five color, and then also I did a post on I think on the Armenian cucumber, and oh, the one I think that actually got it started, one of the first ones was I did a repost of a picture of a French breakfast radish I grew a couple of seasons ago that wouldn't go to seed. It took it over a year to go to seed. It grew all through a hot summer. It just kept producing new leaves and kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. I mean, that thing was a monster, bigger than a human baby, you know, just huge for a French breakfast radish. You know what I mean? I just wanted it to grow so I could produce seeds and I could save some seeds to grow for the next season. But it wouldn't produce seed at all. It wouldn't produce the seed stock. So I showed, I'm getting way off track here, but I shared a picture of that French breakfast radish and it like went crazy. And so that meant other posts were being seen and some of these other posts started going crazy. And I really can't believe it. I mean, tens of thousands of reactions. Some of them in the thousands, some of them in the hundreds. But for us to get anything really over, say, 20, 30, I mean, sometimes I'd say we've had some posts that have gotten into the 30, 40 area of reactions. I mean, we're a small channel. We've got our little niche of this gardening social media, you know. We've got our handful of really awesome people who come over here and check out and watch what we do. But when it starts getting into the, you know, I start seeing reactions in like the 60, 70. I was like, 60 reactions. Look at this, 60 reactions. And then I wake up the next day and it's 300 and some reactions. What's going on? And then the next day, 1,000 something, 2,000. And some of the other ones are starting to hit. And there are all these reactions. Now, okay, now that's really cool too. It's really cool to be able to see that, like I said. But there's a caveat to the whole thing. As I'm sure a lot of these things, when some posts and things happen, and I'm sure a lot of other content creators deal with this sort of issue too, as posts start getting seen or shared and started being passed around, you get a lot of these bots and these lot of these spam accounts and all these sort of things trying to post into comments and to get in there and posting all this spam crazy stuff. So what I've actually been doing is spending these last few days in my free time on the phone trying to delete and block people that are constantly getting into these different posts. Now again too, my other problem, I don't know if it's a problem. I mean, again, it's awesome to see people reacting. It's awesome to see people enjoying the different content that you're sharing out there and sharing your content too. I mean, I love it when people share the different posts that we put out for our Urban Gardener page. You know, I love that when that happens. And it's happening a lot, by the thousands actually over the last couple of weeks. But this problem is that it's centered in a different part of the world than where I'm at. So nothing wrong with that part of the world. You know what I mean? I think it's awesome that people from a whole other side of the planet right now are going crazy with the like button and all the hearts and the reactions and the the little emojis and the love it and saying very beautiful and all these sort of things that they're posting on there, and all the lovely comments coming from all these people that are on the other side of the world from me. You know, and it's awesome on that level. But the other thing though too is that it also brings a lot of, there's a lot of comments that are in languages I don't understand. Now, a lot of the comments that are in other languages that I've kept and maintain on those posts have a C translation thing. So you can actually hit the button and it'll tell you what that is or what they're saying. But and I don't know why. Maybe it's because, I don't know. Maybe they don't want me to see what's being translated. Or I'm not sure. But some of them don't have a translation. If they don't have a translation thing, I have to take it off. You know, if it's some sort of spam, I have to block it. You know, that sort of thing. And that's been a lot of what I've been doing when it comes to the Facebook page. It's really awesome. I love seeing those numbers of reactions and all of that sort of stuff. It's really cool for a small channel and a small content creator like myself. But again, it's got a couple of different issues that are, that hopefully, will be all right in the end. I just, having to maintain keeping up with all the spam is something else. Yeah, King. Hey, what's going on, King Star? Dropping in with us on the live chat at the moment. Just kind of hanging out here right now and talking about a lot of the different things growing on in the garden, some of the different issues we've been dealing with when it comes to the heat and which I know you know a lot about down there in Texas, as Connie, who's been joining with us, is down there as well, and all of us who are dealing with those really tough heat situations in the garden. So that's kind of a lot of what we've been talking about too, and discussing with the different things that we're growing in our garden this year. And plus, I've actually just been talking about this last few minutes about our Facebook page. And again, if anybody hasn't gone to our Facebook page yet, or actually more, I encourage everybody is to go to our Facebook group, the Let's Get Growing Gardening group, and come join with us there and share with us different things going on in your gardens. Yeah, we've been talking about the Facebook page. It's actually kind of been blowing up the last few weeks. It's been blowing up on the other side of the world, and been getting a lot of issues because I'm getting like thousands of reactions on some of my posts. So I'm spending a lot of my time trying to block people and get things blocked. So I got to figure some way to get some filters on these comments or something. But yeah, something I'm not used to when it comes to just having a smaller channel and being a content creator. With an audience of my size, it's not usually the numbers I'm looking at, and it's just really crazy. Really cool, really good for the ego, to see all that sort of reaction to all of those things. But it does come with some caveats and some things that you got to deal with too. Jenny, nice to see you, Jenny. Thanks for joining with us there. Great to see you here on our live stream. Great to see everybody on our live streams. And if you haven't yet, hit the thumbs up button. And if you haven't joined in the conversation box there, join in right now with us. Let us know you're here. Let us know what you got going on. And again, a lot of different things going on in our gardens here on the Urban Gardener. And real soon here, we're going to get back to putting together some of our garden videos. But if you haven't seen our summer garden tour yet, got links down in the description right now to both part 1 and part 2 of our summer garden tour, which is a complete walk around all throughout all of the different things we've got growing and all of our different unique garden spaces. And I've titled those Very Unique Garden and all that because I think, out of what you see around on YouTube, our garden spaces are probably one of the more unique spaces you're going to see that people are growing and producing food for themselves in. So I hope you get a chance to go check out those summer garden tours as well too. King says, we had 2 months of ridiculous drought, crazy stuff here in Texas, but we finally got rain. It's awesome. You're getting some rain. I wish we were getting some rain around here. It's just been dry as a bone for the last several months now. And it's just, I'm just trying every day to keep up with it, to help keep all of my many different spaces that we're growing in, keep them hydrated and keep them wet throughout these really hot part of the summer. So we're really just kind of in a hang on and maintain mode right now. And hopefully things are going to start cooling down here in the next few weeks as we are into September now. But, again, we're also dealing with a lot of wildfires and a lot of stuff like that too. So we'll hopefully be seeing some relief from a lot of the things that we've been dealing with and start producing some of these plants that have not producing during this heat, Pacific Permaculture, hi, the Urban Gardener, awesome, hi, Pacific Permaculture, sorry. Thanks for joining us. It's good to see you all here, join with me, talking a bunch of different things about what's growing on in our gardens here. And hopefully everything's growing well in your gardens too. Thank you all so much for joining with me. We're supposed to have rain, very cloudy suddenly. So, hopefully you're getting some rain real soon there too, Connie. Yes, that will be definitely good for the gardens. My gardens would love some actual, just natural rain from the clouds, man. My gardens would love it so much right now. But problem with some of the rain that we get at this moment too, I think there was just a little bit of showers like last week or a week or so ago, just for a moment, just a quick moment. And when we get something like that, that's usually like a little cool front that kind of pushes into the warm air here in the area, and the next thing you know, thunderstorms and lightning are happening all over the place, and that's dangerous for us at this time of year too. So it's kind of wish for rain, but rain brings this, and I don't know. It's just a tough time of year. So again, we're just kind of like on a hold pattern. Let's hold on. Let's help keep everything wet and make sure that they're not drying out around the garden. And hopefully things will cool down and these wildfires will subside and we can get back to growing in our normal garden environment. All right, let's see here. I'm not even sure how long, because for some reason, YouTube used to hold a timer clock up in the corner, but I don't know if they're trying to keep me on longer. Maybe that's the thing that they're thinking about. They're not showing that anymore, so I'm not seeing how long I've actually been on this live stream. I feel like I've been talking for a while. I think we started at 1 o'clock. So yeah, hour and a half. So we've been on for an hour and a half. That's pretty long live stream for us. And so what we'll do now is I'll kind of hold on for a moment. And let's see. And what I'll do is just say, if you got any questions or you got anything like that you want to ask me here, I'm going to hold on for a couple of minutes here. And before I go ahead and end our live stream for the day, I do got some things I got to get to here pretty soon. I got to start thinking about. But I'm really enjoying being able to sit down with you all and talk with you guys and spend the afternoon hanging out, just talking about gardening for a little bit here on the channel. And again, like I said, we're going to get some regular videos out each week, plus possibly some more live streams coming up here in the next few weeks, and then we'll be working on some other projects and hopefully some specific video content I want to do. Like I mentioned earlier, I got something on strawberries I've been working on I want to do, and then another project too that I'm gearing up for too. So hopefully that'll be a fun video, and I'm excited about making that. I've been wanting to do it for a little while, so I'll share with all of you guys about that coming up here soon before we get that one produced and put out as well too. So yeah, let's see. Again, unless anybody's got any questions or anything like that before we head out, I'm going to head out into the day today. I do got to finish up doing some watering on the back patio before I move on to some other work and a project I want to get done. But other than that, we'll definitely see you guys all this next Sunday for our next garden journal, where we'll dig into those potato storage boxes. I've got some potatoes and see how well all of those have grown. They're ready definitely for us to get harvested up. So yeah, Connie, bye everyone. Have a great gardening day. Yeah, that's actually right. Hope you all have a great day too. Thank you so much for joining with me. Thanks for joining us here on the Urban Gardener. And again, real quick, go down and check out our Facebook gardening group, the Let's Get Growing gardening group. We've got a link down below. I've got links to our summer garden tours. If you haven't checked those out, go check those out. Go check out some of our other videos on our video page. And again, also I mentioned Instagram too. There's an Instagram link. I'm posting pictures on Instagram a lot more lately too, so come like some of our pictures, come follow us there. Lots of different content, lots of different places to be able to follow along with us on the Urban Gardener. And again, I'll see you all on our next video.